Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, one and all, and welcome to Virtual Motorsport Online's TCUK Championship for Round 9, races 25, 26, and 27. Tonight, we return to the home of UK motorsport, Silverstone, for our penultimate round of this year's championship. We visit this national layout tonight. It's short, it's sweet, and it only has 6 corners, but all of those corners flow into fast straights, meaning that any mistakes from our drivers tonight will be severely punished in lap time lost and potentially positions lost. So our drivers tonight will be looking to execute perfect races, and 2 drivers who have been absolutely faultless so far this year have been our championship protagonists. Thomas O'Leary, Daniel Hurlock. After 24 races, they're separated by 14 points. So who knows what may happen tonight. I'm sure we're due for a few fireworks. My name is Matthew Churgwin. Joining me for commentary this evening is Mr. Philip Morby. So say hello, sir.
Hello, we're back after the technical shenanigans of 2 weeks ago. It's good to be back. It's good to see everything working. We had some issues a fortnight ago. Apologies, you missed us. We missed you, and we're back at currently sunny Silverstone.
Currently sunny Silverstone. We don't think there's a chance of any wet weather yet, sadly, but the national layout, Phil, I alluded to it just now. It's an interesting challenge for the drivers. It's very fast, it's very flowing, and of course with our boost system powered by HEMS, I think we're going to see a slightly shaken up grid tonight.
We are indeed. I mean, 22 cars, and I think qualifying, it's a sub-minute lap, and the qualifying, it was a second between the entire grid. So it's fast and furious around here. Not many turns, not many overtaking opportunities.
It's our 2 favourite words there, fast and furious. That's what we'll be seeing here tonight. So as you can see, a fairly simple looking layout, but there's some tricky corners in here, some big braking zones, and it does normally typically obviously favour the drivers who have got themselves a well sorted car and can make the most of their straight line speed. As mentioned, this is our penultimate round. We do have one more after this. We have been visiting all the wonderful race circuits that the virtual United Kingdom has to offer, and you'll be able to join us in 2 weeks' time on the 19th for our grand finale at Brands Hatch GP. 3 more races. We will hopefully be there. Well, I will be there. Phil, you're skiving off on holiday, aren't you?
So I'm actually on holiday. This is my final race evening. Technically, mathematically speaking, the championship could be wrapped up, but it would take an absolute travesty from Hurlock's side to basically get nil qua and O'Leary to win everything with that 12-point gap between the two. So I don't think it's going to be wrapped up tonight. But we may see other championships wrapped up.
Yes, we'll be keeping an eye out for it. I believe Phil's going to be live with the adding machine, so we'll have to, of course, call it provisional. But yes, we will try and keep you up to date. Well, we have been obviously keenly keeping an eye on our Drivers' Championship. There's so many other little championships going on, be it for the Independents, for our Challenger Cup, I beg your pardon, as well as those going for fastest laps and fastest sectors. So lots to keep an eye out for, and we'll be calling that best we can as the evening goes on.
We have a couple of, like I said, obviously the Independent Championship. We have the Challenge Cup, which I think is for drivers who have yet to win a race. If you win a race this season, you're still in this season's Challenge Cup, but you won't be in next season. And we also have the On the Charge Purple Sector Award, which is based on qualifying. So I've just had a quick run through the numbers, and we'll be going for the Purple Sector Award. We'll be going into the final race of just 6 points between Jordan Richardson and Callum Wilson. On 106 and 100 points. So basically we give out kind of racing points, and it's only for qualifying. So those two are close. And Dan Hurlock's only 15 points behind. So if Hurlock puts it on pole at Brands and Wilson and Richardson don't have a good qualifying session, that would give him that championship at least. But I think that one is going to be Richardson versus Wilson.
Points and consistency obviously make the prizes happen, so we'll have to see how our drivers do this evening. And yes, we're getting towards the business end. Phil, you'll have to, as you're not with us, just to put you ever so slightly on the spot, you'll have to give us your kind of shout outs for driver of the season and that kind of thing in your eyes, because we have had some great drives from everyone up and down the field, making the most of their opportunity here in TCUK.
I hadn't even thought of that. You've put me right on the spot.
I think.
Yeah, I definitely have a think. I mean, it's got to be between O'Leary and Hurlock just pushing each other to the end. Has been absolutely fantastic to watch. Jordan Richardson, he's kind of a person that's come out of nowhere and is doing all right. I think Trebek, last time out at Donington was his first time out, and he seemed to hold his own okay. Got a bit unlucky. Seemingly looked okay here in qualifying, so kind of one to watch, I suppose, for future seasons, definitely. And yeah, it's been great to watch this field.
It has indeed. And as you say, Phil, we have 20 or so runners and riders, which is great to see. Well, we've both raced Silverstone. You, I think, more recently than I in TCUK. Try and describe to our viewers what to keep an eye out for from the driver's seats. Lots of, I imagine, pack racing.
Yeah, but there's so much slipstream. So the front-wheel drives, especially the Cupra, have a bit of a straight line speed advantage. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. And this, we were talking offline, in terms of the boost, this is probably the race that has the biggest difference. So those drivers that don't have many laps to use it are probably going to struggle, because you've got, as you saw from that track map, you've got the entirety start-finish line and then the massively long back straight, and that's a massive difference. That's also going to affect car setup. Do you set your car up to hit that red line without the boost and just use it for acceleration out of corners, or do you set it up that you're going to have a high top speed, but it's going to take you a bit longer to get there if you're not using the boost? So that's going to, you throw that one into the mix as well. And then, yeah, obviously, in terms of overtaking, turn 1, it's quite difficult. Heavy braking of, well, effectively turn 2 onto the national track bit, onto the, I think it's Wellington Straight, isn't it? Sorry. And then, yeah, it's going to be really struggle overtaking wise, but we'll see what these guys can do.
Absolutely. And one of my and this is a strange thing to have a preference for, but one of my favourite trackside cameras in R Factor 2 is actually on this circuit, watching Cops, because if, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see it a few times as well tonight, you'll see how much the cars move around. There's a bump into Cops, very fast right-hander to open up the lap, and it really does unsettle a car, and it does make it move around. If you ever find yourself driving around here, just watch the car in slow motion. You see the suspension working hard, the tyres moving around. Quite impressive to watch all of that being simulated in real time, and we'll have to see, as you say, Phil, who's prioritised perhaps a little bit of consistency and momentum versus top speed, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah, I know which camera you mean, but we've got a spotter's guide here. So not much change from the last time we went to go and try this. The only thing to point out is that it shows number 22 Ross McGregor sitting for Scott Mitchell. Scott is actually here tonight. So that's the only kind of difference there. Obviously, yes, Simon Trebek in that Unlimited Motorsports. He's going after his first time out in Donington. He's back, which is great to see. And then it's the usual runners and riders. Obviously, a few drivers aren't able to make it. So Matt Richards isn't here, for one. I don't think Jack Nichols is here. And last I heard, he was stuck in the M6. So good old real life shenanigans, I suppose, getting away with the virtual shenanigans. But yeah, so like I said, quite a few runners and riders that have stuck it through and through, and also a few penalties to go through as well in the moment.
Yes, it's been a busy time in the stewards room. We had some great racing from Donington Park. We had a few interesting using the boost to its full advantage. A few interesting runs through and updates to the rulebook, in fact, off the back of our last round out. So, Phil, will you be able to catch everyone up on some of the post-race action from last
shenanigans? Yeah, shenanigans is going to be that word I use all evening, isn't it? So, our cameraman pointed out that one of the Astras had a damaged front end pushing his teammate Herlock. So, no, he had a damaged front end. And we were like, how's he got damage? And we realised that basically the team were doing was the Herlock didn't have much boost because obviously he's second in the championship, and his teammate was using his boost to basically bump draft him along and used his boost. Technically, there was nothing in the rulebook saying that isn't allowed. It happens obviously in many other racing leagues, but they don't have the boost, and it was the use of the boost to push the teammate along, which effectively that's now been outlawed. Using your boost to push another driver is now a legal move, and can be reported and will be actioned by the team. So it was very much a kind of that was a good find of the loophole in the old book, but don't do that again, thank you. So that loophole has been closed. In terms of penalties, we've got 5 drivers taking grid drops. So Trebek, sadly, Emil and Carl Benson each have a 5-place grid drop going into race 1 tonight. And then Alan Smith and Louis Neal have 10-place grid drops going into the race, which will be good news for O'Leary. And we'll get a starting order to see what that all means soon.
Indeed, qualifying has occurred. We'll get all of those penalties applied, and we'll have our first race of 3 this evening, coming up very, very shortly. Tell me, Phil, where do you want to? Oh, well, let's run through the order right now. So Ryan Elliott is on pole position for RSR, followed by Fraser Hart, Daniel Kell, and Cedar Wire round out the second row. Scott Mitchell-Malm for Kings is followed by Zach Evans for Vapor Shield in P6. Jordan Richardson for Drake will start in 7th, with Luke Mitchell in his loadout Ford Focus in 8th. Jack London and Callum Wilson round out our top 10.
We've then got Martha Allenson. She starts in 11th, with Ben Willis of Drake racing in 12th. Dan Herlock, obviously our championship contender, our first of the 2, is in 13th, with Simon Trebek there in 14th. Callum Cripps of Brabham Motorsport in 15th, Emil Salberg starting down 16th with that grid drop. Carl Benton, again, another grid drop in 17th. Jordan Osborne, 18th. Louis Neal qualified 9th, starts 19th. And it's O'Leary down in 20th place. So they both our championship protagonists got a lot of work to do. Mitch Faree in 21st and Alan Smith in 22nd as they start the formation lap. And getting on with it already, because they're obviously such a short circuit, they're already halfway around the circuit.
Yes, it's fast and furious. You've used the word, so have I now. It's a 50-second lap, and it's going to be pretty quick formation, I expect. And yep, our leading pair are already at Luffield, the final, or second to last really, kind of corner on the lap. Power traction zone onto our start-finish straight. Of course, those of you familiar with the likes of Formula 1 will recognise some of these legendary corners. We have a little bit of a cut in the middle after Beckett's, just to kind of bring ourselves back to the Wellington Straight. So we get some really lovely classic corners here for our drivers to contend with tonight.
It's going to be interesting to watch Elliott, obviously with his teammate all the way down in the 14th, was that, I think we said, 15th. What's Elliott going to what's Herlock going to do in our picture-in-picture there?
Indeed, as he comes to take his grid position, just getting himself right and well and truly into the box. You can see a few cars already angling, trying to protect themselves. We've got front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive on the front row. We'll have to see who wins out between Hart and Elliott. Engine res arrives. Lights out, and away we go for 22 laps in this, our first race of the evening. Fraser Hart in that BMW has gotten a great getaway. He's alongside Ryan Elliott as they run towards turn 1, but thinks better of it. He runs through the exit of Copse with Dan Kell for very close company. Ryan Elliott runs away down towards Beckett's for the first time.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on Herlock to make sure he kind of survives. At one point it was 3 wide there, and he's already up to 11th, so great start from him. I think also O'Leary has made some places up already. So, yeah, look at 2x2 down the back straight.
I mentioned there would be a little bit of pack racing, some bumping, some drafting, and it's already starting. Everyone's starting to form up, find a partner, try and use that slipstream and try and hold on to the slipstream of the car ahead. Some bumping, some banging. Daniel Herlock and that still beautifully liveried RSR running through the exit of Luffield there. A little bit of contact there. I think that was with the Civic behind him, the Brabham. So survives lap 1, and we're already 1 in the books.
Yeah, and obviously they've got 12 laps of boost, the drivers that aren't limited effectively. O'Leary's got, I think he had about 6 there. Interesting lines being taken through turn 1, and yeah, Elliott kind of managing it here already kind of quite nicely, as there's a kind of a massive fight going on behind him as that Honda looks like it's got the inside.
Yep, Cedo Wire not hanging around. He wants to stay with Elliott on the boost. Got Wire on the medium tyre. We'll talk about tyre strategy in a short moment's time, but Wire absolutely wanted to get around this Ford Focus of Dan Kell at the moment. He wants to chase down and take that first race win of the evening away from Ryan Elliott. So nothing doing this time around. Beckett's and the braking zone into it is, there's a few different lines, and we just saw him open the door there on Kell, but Kell carrying the momentum on the exit.
Yeah, but we didn't point out there also, that was usually a lot of drivers will save their boost for the second half of the race, but already we had drivers actually using it early, which is the first time I can remember. But it's such an important thing here that, track position, as we see Richardson take an interesting line through turn 1 there. But yeah, soft tyres, you have to use them once in the 3 races, so quite a few using them in race 1 here, top 2. Obviously, we'll give you more grip at the start, but usually less grip at the end, so you need to look after them early on to make sure there's still work at the end, as I saw someone being pushed out wide there. I think that was Martha, tucks back in.
Yes, I do think that everyone's wanting to try and break this slipstream so they can then focus on their own races. 3 wide here, down into Brooklands. That'll be brave. We've got one of the loadout cars and some robust driving there. I think that's between Daniel Herlock and Fraser Hart, who's not had an ideal start to the race. Again, momentum's so important around the Silverstone circuit, but look at that BMW launch off the exit, and he's gotten alongside, I'd like to say, Luke Mitchell there. 3 wide, is that towards Cops? No.
Not quite. He's fought better of that, but that was a good use of the boost on the exit, and that shows you the difference compared to those that don't use it. But he kind of then got boxed in and a bit stuck and had to kind of get off the button. Using it again to see if they can get alongside. We have a yellow in sector 1. Hopefully everyone's going to make it through. Herlock's looking down the inside for 8th, so a brilliant recovery from qualifying, as it looks like it was Jordan Osborne sadly affected early on. I'm sure we'll see a replay later, but yeah, back to the train of Elliott, and definitely Kel is sticking on the back.
Yeah, Callum Cripps, I think, is going to be on Jordan Richardson's Christmas card list. There's a noticeable gap opening up between our leading 5 and the rest as this group continue to scrap our leading 5 breakaway. Here we have a little bit of helicopter shot here of Richardson exiting Luffield for the 4th time. He's still very much in touch with Scott Mitchell-Marm in the King's yellow Focus.
Yeah, it looks like Ben Willis has had a problem near the back of the grid as well, sadly. That's them down a few spots. Richardson yet to use any boost also, whereas the 4 guys ahead of them have used it. So yeah, very nice spot at the moment, just kind of holding back, just waiting to see what these 2 ahead. Obviously, it does mean that Elliott and Kel, if they think about it, could work together to kind of get out of the way and make a gap. And we've got an onboard here of, I think this is of Richardson. So it looks like he's using the boost to try and get past both cars. That would be something of a move, side by side, and done it.
Textbook, beautiful stuff. Can he hold it through the apex and onto the exit? Yes, he can. Lovely stuff using that boost. And yeah, I think if these 3 can work together, they will be able to catch the leading 2. It is a sprint race, but even now there's a little bit of time for cooperation, some strategy, and who knows, if you work together, you may be able to get yourselves onto that podium together.
Yep, so yeah, there's a few drivers, like I said, opting not to use it. So who are the main movers? Yeah, Richardson up to 4 places. Yeah, Fraser Hart, as you said, down another place. And Wilson up to, Callum Cripps. As well, Louis Neals made some good places, 19th to 7th. So we need to recover those 10-place grid drop he got from Donington. And what's it mean for O'Leary at the moment? I can't see where he is. I think he is currently down in 15th. So we'll get a point at the moment. But Herlock in 7th, I think, would then pretty much nearly catch up and be evens into race 2.
Herlock with an absolute peach of a pass a few laps ago into Beckett's, just beautifully on the brakes, judged it, put his car on the inside and dominated the corner. So he's definitely starting as he means to go on his medium tyres, not used any of his boost yet as well. So clearly just biding his time, taking care of things. O'Leary, I think, trying now to make a move happen on the Cupra here for 14th place, but nothing doing that time by.
Yeah, he's kind of got caught in this train as well, because quite 5 or 6 cars. You see up ahead, side by side, it looks like Mitchell possibly and Wilson. Yep, fighting position. Oh, that's a car out. Who was that?
That, I think, was Louis Neal. That was a particularly strange one.
Looks like it went too much on the inside and actually hit the inside wall and back out again. Something for the replay later, but that's, I think them. Oh, they are still going somehow. Surely that car's got damaged. That looks like a proper hit. But it moves. O'Leary suddenly got up to 12th out of nowhere from 15th. So something's happened there for them as well, quite nicely.
So it is a stereotype of I've never seen that before, but genuinely I don't think I've ever seen that before. So a real pity there for Neil, but he is still going, and hopefully he'll be able to recover some of his progress in the next 15 or so laps. Callum Wilson making his way forward as well. Saw him making a lovely pass a few laps ago on, I believe it was Jack London. So another BMW making his way forward.
Yep, so here's a replay of Fraser Hartland. So we're going into turn 1. So we've got a car ahead of us. Everything's fine. Did we just turn in early? Oh, right. Just locks up suddenly.
Yes, I think that may be a downshift one too many, and away goes the rear axle. So that is hugely unlucky there for Louis. But we've all been there. We've all pulled too many gears. I've definitely blown up virtual engines doing that. So don't worry. We've all been there. We've all done that.
Yeah, it's a shame. I was just saying how he's made places up. Obviously, O'Leary's lost a place, though, out of all that, and down to 13th now as Kel continues to apply the pressure on Elliott, who's having none of it. and is quite happy, like, no, it's fine, you just stay there, and we'll just run away from Richardson, who's now 2 seconds behind this fight, but has also himself kind of made a gap to 4th place Sido.
Indeed, Richardson has definitely left the building. He's left that train that he was in well and truly behind. Elliott and Kell using their boost up, crossing the start-finish line, start lap number 9. And if these two start to scrap, I can see Richardson being with them very, very quickly. So we'll have to see how they cooperate or not together. Elliott doing a lovely job of just focusing on his lines, hitting his marks, not being put off by that menacing Ford Focus in the rearview mirror, dancing around, not defending empty space, just keeping his line. And as they now run down towards Brooklands, that 3/10 gap, I think he's got that one just about covered.
Okay, we've got a replay here of, wow, this is what we have to bend. So what we're going is a dive down the inside, little tap, holds it, front wheel drive, and then can't hold it. And then we come back on, and I'm not quite sure what happened there, but the car did not turn right. So that was a very peculiar one there. Not quite not the best rejoin. Sadly, Martha got kind of picked out on that one, sadly. But yeah, still running, I believe, but down near the back of the grid.
Yes, wrong place, wrong time there for Martha, which is a pity. But she again is still running and riding, and in 19th place currently, but still some time to recover.
Yeah. So in terms of the championship, it's 7th for Herlock and 12th O'Leary. So 7th for 9 points, 12th 4 points, so 5 points gained at the moment. So that would bring the gap down to 7 points between O'Leary and Herlock at the moment if they finish like this. As Elliott's using a little bit more of his boost to pull away. Worth pointing out, Richardson's only used 1 lap and has also the fastest lap. So he has a couple of extra boost laps to catch up on those 2 guys ahead.
O'Leary also making progress up to 12th now, perhaps looking to fashion a move here on the Honda Civic here on the brakes. Up to 11th he goes, overshoots ever so slightly, but the right-hander of Luffield then comes towards him, so he's able to complete that move. Zachary Evans, this time by losing a place.
Yeah, and that's another point gained for O'Leary, so it kind of like it's kind of reduces the damage, I suppose, of that this first race. But yeah, we're only just halfway through, so we're flying by. And Richardson using one of his boosts now to try and catch up to the likes of Kell and Elliott.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to see how our 2 protagonists, O'Leary and Herlock, play this one out. I'd say the worst thing you could do is throw a half move up the inside, cause contact, perhaps damage yourself. Like some of these, just finishing in the mid-pack, normally a bit risky, particularly around the race starts, but it's all about banking those points at this stage for these 2 drivers. And with their limited boost, it's going to be, I think, hard work for them to make lots of places up, but hey, we've said things as commentators and it's not come to pass, so we'll have to see.
Well, especially we've also said how many times has O'Leary won race 2, because he gets so much extra boost in that second race. So Herlock's got 6 laps of boost, O'Leary's only got 5, because they are the top 2 in the championship. So they'll get some extra boost back for the second race, which will help them. So I mean, Herlock would take this. He's ahead of his championship rival. He's gaining some decent points, and long may that continue. As we look at Richardson, kind of currently in the race's zone, using that boost to try and catch up with the 2 guys ahead, and yeah, currently on the podium. But I think Mitchell Malm is trying to break away from the guys behind. I think he may have done.
Yeah, I think he may have done as well. I think he's also made a position there. I'm pretty sure it was Cripps who was in 6th place, but it looks like there's been a little shuffle around, and Wire and Mitchell Malm, I believe, have gotten past him in the last few laps. But Richardson, he's doing the hard work. He's having to make the time up, but he's doing it. That gap was 3 seconds to Dan Kell. It is now just 2.5 seconds to the leader. So the gap rapidly coming down, and this drag racing driver focusing on his marks, not making too many mistakes, and he is carrying that momentum and using that boost advantage to good effect.
Yep, it would be a question of when he gets there, has he still got the tyres to make those moves, which would be the fun bit to see. Just seeing, so Herlock's in a bit of a trade. Just seeing a bit of a contact there. Wilson and Mitchell. Sorry, yes, it's Wilson and Mitchell, I believe. London, sorry. And the Ford, he has got ahead. So he's now trying to probably help. Bit of a fight going on down here. Slipstream battle. Who's going to come out the bravest of them all?
Looks like Wilson by a nose, but a little bit of contact, momentum loss for both drivers, and they're now well and truly under attack. And here comes O'Leary. London there a little bit offline, not on the preferred line there through Luffield this time around, and O'Leary has now got himself alongside, potentially ahead, as they run through Woodcut to complete lap 14, move on to 15.
Yeah, it's just take a bit of the inside lines. They're going to go 3 wide. Selberg's thinking about the battle and probably going to push them a little bit wide if they're not careful. Just about holds on to it. This is what O'Leary doesn't want. He doesn't want this fight. He wants the points and will happily take them off anyone that's fighting for them, but he doesn't want to be involved, like I said, in any contact that ruins your race through, as there's a little bit of contact there, but manages to hold it all together. And yeah, kind of, like I said, banking some decent points and set himself up for race 2, but definitely still 8 laps to go, definitely not over.
And they are queuing up behind them as well. So as our drivers will scrap, they of course naturally will slow each other down, and you've then got another 5 cars just right behind you, ready to join the race. Oh, I think Salberg a little bit squirrely, a little bit loose into Brooklands that time by. So that'll be music to O'Leary's ears as he now just focuses ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely a top 10 here for O'Leary, which, considering starting position was quite far back, would quite happily take. So got on board of Trebek in 16th, thinking, I could do with a point actually out of this lot. So if you guys could just all whack each other out of the way, which it looks like they're going to try their best to do, but they about all make it. Single file into turn 1. Are they going to make it into this heavy braking zone? He's kind of trying to eye up somewhere. There's nowhere to go basically. There's so many cars. It's where do you put your own?
It's a car park.
Yeah, and especially here where there is that kind of one line. If you find yourself offline, you kind of lose one spot. You kind of lose 2 or 3. So you need to kind of get yourself back in line. Nearly like NASCAR, with the kind of the lines of following the car in front is sometimes the fastest way to go.
Yes, get into the groove. Speaking of the groove, Jordan Richardson continues to inch up onto the back of Dan Kell and Ryan Elliott here. Everyone on the boost using everything at their disposal, crossing the start-finish line. Richardson currently holding our fastest lap of the race and the bonus point. Elliott and Kell even on boost. Richardson using just 1 lap more boost to catch up to them so far. So definitely looks like the momentum is with Richardson, but you're absolutely right, Phil. It's one thing to catch, it's quite another to pass. And with the lap times being as tight and small as they are, given the short and fast nature of this circuit, the speed, the lap time delta needed to get a pass done cleanly is significant. But now we have Kell and Elliott starting to scrap. A little switch back. Oh, the engine's coming!
Oh no, that's a downshift too many. I mean, that's good for his teammate, but it also moves up O'Leary. And the pressure there of Dan Kell on his backside, just downshifted too much, and that's the engine gone. And Richardson's then up to 2nd and on for a win if he wants to kind of push Kell.
Sorry, folks, but firework, literally, on 16, down into Brooklands. Disaster there for Ryan Elliott after such a good run to that point. But as I said, we've all been there, we've all done it, we've all downshifted too quickly, and that Astra is toast.
Yeah, and that obviously sets him up badly for races 2 and 3, because it now means he's going to start at the back. He's the first retirement, which I'm amazed to say, on lap 17 of 22, and will likely start 22nd, which is a real shame for him. Puts Hurlock to 6th, but obviously, O'Leary currently 12th. So, so interesting. Hurlock's gone up a place, and O'Leary's having to fight and lost a place to London. So, this is now a battle for the lead between Kell, who's got a bit of a gap there, to Richardson. And, nice view here of Richardson. He's just going to look through and then suddenly bang, and just don't follow the flames. And I think we can safely say that, Kell won that battle.
I think so, and we'll have to see what Dan can now do. Was he being held up by Elliott? Can he now streak off into the distance, or will Richardson continue to make ground on him? It looks pretty even, actually, so far, but looks like both drivers using a little bit of extra track width there on the exit of Copse this time by. But yes, we've all had those kind of moments where we've tried to desperately slow the car down, and I think as we'll hear, one unhappy gearbox in a moment.
Yeah, that was it. It's just locked up, and a little bit of contact with good measure, but he knows to park it up out of the way at least. But that's a shame. That's a real shame, that is. He's doing such a good job. I mean, it's going to be a fun battle to watch to the end, and it kind of gives Kell a little bit of breathing room, but Richardson's trying his best, only a 2nd behind. But so there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Have we had another coming together with anyone, or?
See the wire DNF. To see him dropping down the timing tower, has he also had a downshift issue and taken away an engine? Well, maybe we'll get a replay of that one, but that's the same for
much to
Cito.
see.
He was having.
He's just pulled off the circuit, so I think something else has happened. We're going to get a replay here, so it was all fine so far. It's quite a long way. It's actually at the end of the Wellington Straight. He just just cut away for now. He just basically pulled off. So very peculiar one there. Something else may have happened though. Another technical issue possibly.
I was going to say it's all coming alive in our final few laps here. I was going to say it's interesting to see how some of the rear-wheel drive cars are starting to make some headway on the front-wheel drive cars, a little bit further in the pack. Perhaps a little bit of tyre wear, but did not expect engines and other technical gremlins to be taking our drivers out as the tower there lights up with boost usage.
Yeah, here we see the Cito just looks all fine. I don't think his engine went bang, did it? I don't see any flames or anything, but maybe I'm wrong. I will need to double check that one, but yeah, looks like something's happened.
Certainly nowhere near as dramatic and as flame-filled, but a pity there for Cito. But as you mentioned, Brian did the same. As soon as you realise you've got an issue with your car, park it up. Don't affect anyone else. That's the main thing. Is it me, or are there wipers going, Phil?
No, surely not. We can't have rain on this, can we?
It's all going.
I don't think
it's raining! It's raining!
Well, we did not expect that one. That's going to throw a good old spanner in the works. So what's happened there? I was not expecting rain at Silverstone today, but it is definitely raining, and it's starting to rain a bit harder. And we got, what, 2 laps to go, or 2 laps plus this one. And that's going to get wet. And well, everyone's on the slicks, so what we're on about, it's going to be, we'll have to make it a bit more exciting to throw it in the mix.
It will. We'll have to see how much wetter it gets. Our drivers might be okay with their now very warm but worn tyres. But this may carry on into our next few races, and we'll have to talk through what that means for tyre strategy. And, well, I think the complexion of the evening may have just changed on us. Dan Kell, though, he continues to lead. He's just minded his own business. Richardson, I think, has just dropped off the back of him a little bit in the last few laps. So perhaps he's been a little bit caught out with the additional precipitation, which has now joined us this evening. As they
yeah. That's terrible. Yeah, he's got a 3-second gap at least to Scott Mitchell-Marm. As you see a battle here. I mean, this Herlock up to 5th now, with all these cars flying off in front of him nicely. So O'Leary, still down in 12th. But it's places for Herlock at the moment, and a big battle behind him, which is just what he needs.
So Mitchell having to almost defend against 2 cars here. It's not ideal. All you can do is just hold on and hit your marks, which he's done nicely there. Wilson continuing to make his way forward in that BMW. As I mentioned, I wonder if it's just taking care of its tyres in some of these traction zones, these fast corners. Always a bit tricky for our front-wheel drive drivers to manage that as the race goes on. Another yellow flag in Sector 3. Can't quite see what's caused that one.
Fraser Hart and Louis Neal looks like they've had it coming together. Something to look at later, but importantly, we're on the last lap. Just suddenly out of nowhere, it's rained, and then suddenly we're near the end. So, bit of a shame, didn't come a few laps earlier, hey?
Well, I was going to say that might have helped Ryan Elliott's engine and some of the fire damage. But yes, Dan Kell, he's run the best race he could, and he's leading. So you can't really say much more than that. He put Elliott under pressure. Perhaps a mistake from Elliott gave him the position, but a textbook drive from our 2021 Drivers' Championship, 2021 Drivers' Champion, as he rounds Luffield for the final time for the first race of this evening, rounds Woodcote, and comes across the start-finish line to win race 1 this evening. Lovely drive there from the Calamity driver.
Brilliant. Yeah, did everything he needs to do to keep putting him under pressure. And that where's O'Leary's made a place up, obviously, with those other battles going on. So, importantly, Herlock is going to finish in the top 5. Not a bad way to start your evening. Especially if O'Leary in 11th, is he going to get that 10th place? No, I don't think so. So that's importantly, Herlock 5th and O'Leary 11th.
So as our drivers continue to come across the start-finish line, just riding here, I think with Jordan Osborne, our last runner and rider, still circulating at this point. Everyone, I think, is now home and dry. Good Lord, I keep doing these puns accidentally. Sorry about that, folks. But boy, oh boy, Silverstone, it's a challenging track to race. You've got to be quick. You've got to have patience and confidence in those around you. Some interesting, unexpected jokers being played, and it's starting to play out on the championship as well. A good haul of points there for Dan Herlock.
It is. It reduces the. We're probably going to do a top rundown of the finishing spots. So that's Dan Kell with the win there for Calamity Motorsport. Jordan Richardson and Scott Miltramam also on the podium. Callum Cripps in 4th with Dan Hurlock, last year's champion, finishing in 5th. Luke Mitchell in 6th with Callum Wilson in 7th. Zach Evans in 8th. Emil Zalberg in 9th. And it's Jack London rounding out the top 10 there. So, yeah, I'll let you carry on, Chuggy.
All right, Thomas O'Leary finished in 11th, followed by Carl Benton, and the two Richardson co-racing drivers finishing line astern there. Martha Allington finished in 13th, followed by Simon Trebek in the Unlimited Esports Cupra. Louis Neal finished in 15th from Fraser Hart. Mitch Marie, Ben Willis, and Jordan Osborne finished in 17th, 18th, and 19th, with Alan Smith in 20th. And then our two did not finishers were Cedar Wire, beg your pardon, and Ryan Elliott, as we saw, leaving the lead in extremely fiery fashion.
So all that means is that Hurlock has halved the deficit from 12 points to 6 between the two drivers in that race alone. So it's a 6-point gap going into race 2, and they'll both have more boost. And importantly, Hurlock's going to start a whole 6 places ahead of O'Leary. And his teammate will be starting. This is where you need your teammate, because I think O'Leary's teammate is starting right behind him, but Hurlock's be starting right at the back.
It's yes, it's going to be, I think, an interesting second race. We're going to have some wet weather, some changes in tyre, some changes in boost, and it's going to be, I think, a little bit of it's going to be an event to watch, no doubt. We mentioned the tyres at the start. We've obviously got our drivers, they have to use a certain allocation across all of the weekends. It's a soft option tyre, which in theory should be faster, but will wear more quickly as the race goes on. 8 of our drivers used it in the first race, 5 in the next, and that softer tyre, it will tend to work a little bit better in the wet conditions if we continue to have them. So if drivers have to use the wet tyre, their option usage will move on to the next race. And well, we've got 11 drivers stacking up in the last race. So if we get some wet weather in this next one, Phil, I think we're going to have some interesting tyre strategy throughout the evening, no matter what.
Yeah, this is going to be great fun. So obviously right now we have a 5-minute gap, or 10-minute, gap between race 1 and race 2. And the track's just going to keep getting wetter and wetter during that. So this is going to be very fun to see how this one plays out, because, if you start race 2 and it's it's a wet track, do you start on those wets knowing, is it going to keep raining? Do you want the dries? I don't know at the moment. It's have to kind of keep an eye on things at the moment, but I can say it is still raining.
I don't know about you, Phil, but with the wet weather, would you jump onto those wet tyres straight away? Would you risk it for a biscuit, as it were?
I did it once at Portland International Raceway when a different league in touring cars, and won the race. There you go, managed to fit that one in nicely. I think it depends where you start. Actually, I mean, even O'Leary, so you're Hurlock in 5th, O'Leary in 11th. If you're O'Leary in 11th, do you take the risk? It's a risky move, and you don't know what the weather's doing. I mean, we didn't think it was going to rain, so we got that one wrong. So it is still raining. So it's going to keep getting wetter and wetter. I need to find out how wet the track is before the next race.
So we were commenting we haven't had a wet TCUK race in some time. Well, we can scratch that one at least a little bit off. We didn't quite have the whole race, obviously, in the wet conditions. But if it continues to rain, as Phil describes, as our warm-up for the second race of the evening progresses, I think our drivers will have to make a bit of a judgment call, won't they, Phil? Do they start on the wet tyres? Do they perhaps even tweak their setup? Just make it perhaps a little bit softer, a bit more roll in the car to help that wet tyre work? These are all scenarios that as a driver, it just unsettles you, puts you off. And when you've already got a championship to think about as well, it may cause that odd little mistake just to creep in.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there's a slight mistake there that Elliot made, but apparently he had an actual issue with his partner outside ringing the doorbell because she forgot her keys. And just to really sum up what virtual racing is like, Cedo's kid woke up during the race, so had to bail out, which explains why Ranby just pulled over during that race. So hopefully all is well there. Issues that you don't get in a real racetrack is worrying if your kid broke up because you're on the racetrack.
Yes, it'd be a bit strange to see a touring car with a child seat, wouldn't it? I don't think
Could happen.
Yeah, well, it could, but I get the sneaking suspicion it might be a bit warm and a bit loud. But but there we go.
Good work. Earmuffs and and they'll like the warm. Put a little blanket on there, just cuddle up on the passenger seat. Job done. Anyway, what a weird. You can definitely tell we're nearing the end of the season. Like, what are we talking about? Children's seat in British touring cars. That's exactly what we need.
Say it's one way to keep them entertained, I guess. I mean, I would love it. I mean, I've always found with racing cars, be them virtual or real, the sound of the engine, of the gearbox. There's something kind of just special. It's almost like a song. Perhaps I'm just getting way too sentimental about these things, but yeah, I think it'd be quite good fun if I were, fairly young individual. I think that'd be quite a fun opportunity to go around in one of these cars in real life and just feel what it's like, hear what it's like.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? When I win the old lottery next week, was it 15 million? Must be one. I'll let you know. I'll give you a ring. We'll go buy a touring car. Go buy one of those of Vorks. They're usually on the old purchase racing car websites, aren't they?
So that worked for me. For a second there, I thought you were going to put me in the boot. So I'll quite happily take a Levorg.
That would be nice. The buying the car, not putting you in the boot of one. Just to clarify, Your Honour. Yeah, we'll have to, like I said, they're expensive. I think one of the teams actually have done the opportunity over Christmas that you can pay quite a lot of money to go drive a real, but it's like only do like 3 laps in the Cupra and then a load of laps in like the Golf. Cedo is back. Hey, that's good to see. Cedo is back, so hopefully he'll be able to race 2. It's raining a little bit harder now compared to the end of race 1, so it is slowly getting wetter.
So from a light drizzle to monsoon, where would you rate it, Phil?
Still a light drizzle, so nothing too serious, but it's definitely getting heavier. Officially, the game says 6% rain. 100% for reference is absolute deluge. A lot of leagues cap it. I can't remember what we cap it. I don't even know what we cap it at on this league, but I have raced in 100% rain in R Factor 2, and it is basically like driving a boat, even with wet tyres. It's just it's not even aquaplaning, because you're having to go so slow. You can't aquaplane. You're just spinning up the wheels all the time. But yeah, I remember that one quite well, because that was actually when I was driving the Levorg. So I was very lucky that rear-wheel drive actually kind of helped. And that's the other thing, obviously, we talk about, is that rear-wheel drive does, I would say, have a bit of an advantage in the wet weather compared to front-wheel drive. But front-wheel drive is easier to control. So
the wet weather is a great equalizer in terms of it always weeds out that little bit of extra driving, I don't know, ability in our drivers. You get those kind of incredible results where folks can kind of show their skills off. And as I say, it mentally, I think, changes your obviously perspective on things. Where what was a practiced for event, which you know exactly how the car's going to behave, well, that extra little bit of moisture just changes the whole balance of the car, and it's going to throw up a few surprises into this second race. And I think if it is just slightly wet, it's almost worse than it being a monsoon. At least if it's a monsoon, the decision's made for you. There's now a choice. Do we go for the wet tyre and hope it gets wetter, or do we stick with the dry tyre and hope that it dries out?
It's starting to get into that. I'm starting to see a little bit of spray. So we're starting to get to that point where, I mean, drivers are doing laps at the moment, just getting a feel for it in warm-up. So basically during this warm-up period, the drivers are able to go out, just test stuff out while the admin team sort out how much boost each driver has, sorts out the grid for race 2 and 3. Yes, definitely sliding. I'm watching Jordan Richardson go quite wide. Yeah, definitely lap times are slower. So yeah, this is about to get quite spicy. And also, obviously, it's quite a short track, but we don't have many cars going round it at the moment. So that track is just going to get wetter and wetter and wetter.
And of course, yeah, that's a fair detail to mention. If you're new to VMO, welcome. Lovely to have you along. We're racing on something simulator called R Factor 2, and it's models where the drivers are obviously placing their cars, the lines they're running, and that's the bit of the circuit where the water will be lifted and moved. So you will see a dry line start to appear. That is where there'll be the most grip. But if there are not many drivers circulating, you won't get that water moved. So it's I think more cars going round. I think the better our drivers will get a feel for what the circuit conditions are like. And of course, you may want to consider the old karting lines going off those more rubbered in sections of the circuit, which may be a touch slippery. So it's going to test our drivers, I think. A new challenge.
Talking of new challenges, we're having some good old technical shenanigans with our boost system again. At least this will make the track wetter while we're waiting. But yeah, this is why we're back into the filler bit of our show. So I haven't even talked about who has Silverstone as their favourite track. I have to go dig out that spreadsheet in a minute. It may be working.
Say, here's hoping. I was going to ask you, Phil, where can you race this lovely layout in reverse?
I don't necessarily have to wait, I think, because basically while we've been away, they have done a bit of a rewrite, including a built-in restart system, so that it should work. We're going to have to be quite quick with the grid to the point where I'm probably going to start running it down now, because they have already started moving and we have a very short grid. So Dan Kell, look at that, Dan Kell starting on the wets.
A few drivers. One of two we're hearing from cameraman extraordinaire on the wet tyre. So let's run through the grid order best we can. Dan Kell, race 1 winner, will start from pole position, followed by Jordan Richardson. Scott Mitchell-Marm will be in third for Kings Racing, with Callum Cripps starting in 4th place. Dan Hurlock will be starting in 5th, followed by Luke Mitchell. Callum Wilson will start 7th, with Zach Evans in 8th. Emil Salberg will start this race in 9th, with Jack London in 10th.
We've then got O'Leary starting 11th, with Carl Benton, teammate, in 12th. Martha Allington in 13th, also on wet tyres, with Simon Trebek in 14th. Louis Neal in 15th, and Fraser Hart in 16th. Mitch Ree in 17th, with Ben Willis, obviously having that issue earlier on, starting 18th. It's Jordan Osborne in 19th, and Alan Smith, who sadly got a stop-go, I think, earlier for running wide at Luffield, in 20th. And then Cedo, obviously starting near the back now, is also starting on the wet tyres in 21st, and Ryan Elliott in 22nd. Is anyone going to dive into the pits? I don't think there is anyone.
We'll have to keep an eye on the pit lane. One going into the pit lane we're hearing.
It's Benson, so he's... and O'Leary. O'Leary's in the pits. In fact, there's a few all flying in for wet. So you've got O'Leary, you've got Benson, and there's a third car, which I can't quite tell who it is. Wilson going down. So those guys, the Richardson Co's, have decided to roll the dice, switch to wets. I'm not sure how this is all going to work during the gridding section. We're going to find out shortly.
Exactly. All 3 tyres on display for our viewing pleasure here in race 2. We wait for everyone to get into their positions, and we will very shortly have our lights starting and the engine note rising.
So I think this is the problem. I think because those 3 cars are not on the grid, the game hasn't actually put them... I don't know. Oh, it just puts them straight onto the grid. I don't know if they have wets or not.
Lights coming on. Engine notes rise, and it's a quick light, and away we go. Dan Kell gets away well. BMW, I think, in 6th or 7th place, getting a good launch as Kell takes Copse Corner for the first time, all pretty much as they were off the grid order there, as they start to now bunch up as they run into the braking zone for Beckett's for the first time.
Yeah, so Kell, obviously with those wet tyres, managed to get a perfect start and pull away quickly. Obviously see a car flying off. That looks like the likes of Trebek, was it? Yep, that's Trebek already off. And Osborne off as well. Sorry, yes, Osborne. Correction there. So, Kell's made those wet start now, and it is now no longer raining, which now is the problem. I think the rain has stopped already.
So, it's rolling the dice. We'll have to see if the wet tyre is the right tyre. It certainly looks like Martha is struggling a little bit in the early going versus all of these slick shod cars, where it was definitely heavily raining here in Woodcote just a few moments ago. It definitely looks a lot lighter to my eyes, but that's not stopped Dan Kell. He has bolted away from Jordan Richardson. They're already, I think, seeking out wetter parts of the circuit there.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, these first few laps, it's going to be fine, but for this to work, Kell needs it to rain pretty much the whole entire race, as does Martha, as does Cedo. Cedo up to 17th. From 21st, so made a few spots. So what we've got here, we've got O'Leary is now in 7th, and Herlock 5th is looking around the outside of Mitchell.
as you were saying, Phil, I think the rear-wheel drive cars, which typically tend to turn their tyres on, all 4 tyres on a little more quickly, they will be feeling a little bit of an advantage here at the start. Looks like O'Leary is making good use of that. Having a look at the back of the loadout Ford Focus here of Mitchell, no way through there. He's trying around the outside of Luffield. This will be quite a move if he can get that one. Holding the Ford Focus tight there, trying to carry the momentum. Round he goes, still on as even as they run through Woodcut. Looks like the Ford Focus, I think, is going to come out on the better here.
The O'Leary can see Herlock fighting as well, and kind of stuck in the same battles basically, only just ahead. Yeah, nice view of the garages there. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman there. As you see, Herlock trying to fight and up to 4th. Looks like they've done it. O'Leary's still there down in 7th and trying to go. I think O'Leary's trying to go the long way around every single lap at the moment. Is this one going to work? A bit sideways and just holds on.
Nicely held on there, trying to find every which way past that Ford Focus, but it's everywhere. It's a very wide Ford Focus this evening that Luke Mitchell's driving, but being driven beautifully so. Martha Allington has made some places, so has Wire, and Dan Kell had a 2.5 second advantage, so maybe those wet tyres are the right tyre to be on at the moment. But look at O'Leary, he's scything his way up the inside there of Mitchell Marm as we're hearing it's raining again from cameraman extraordinaire.
It's just what these guys need, just what Cedo, Martha and Kell needs, is it to just kind of keep drizzling, keep those wets kind of, don't overpressure them, don't get too hot. And yeah, O'Leary now right on the back of Herlock. So again, don't want to do anything stupid, but especially as it starts raining, we know offline is going to start getting wet, which is kind of going to make it single file traffic. So you have to be very brave to go offline. And yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch, as already O'Leary wants to put the pressure on Herlock.
So it looks like he definitely is feeling a lot more confident in his BMW. Dan Herlock on the boost, trying to get past Callum Cripps, and cameraman extraordinaire pointing out quite rightly so that O'Leary is on the soft tyre, so he's got a little bit of extra grip. And oh, is that a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of deep contact there?
Yeah, they definitely went deep. It's starting to rain a bit more now. We're now on, yeah, it's turning from drizzle to proper rain, and this is going to get a bit spicy very quickly as O'Leary's got the inside. Both Herlock trying, to use the boost, as is O'Leary. I think they're going to go side by side through turn 1. Is this how you want your championship to fight? Hopefully they keep it clean. Is he going to think about it? He does check it down the inside. Is there the grip there? Or are they going to slide out? No, they just about hold it. And just you see everyone go very much wide afterwards.
Nicely done from our leading drivers, protagonists in the championship, using all of their skills and abilities here. Still running side by side, going into Beckett's and exiting onto the Wellington Straight. I think O'Leary's got himself in a pretty snazzy spot here, but we know that Astra is incredibly quick in a straight line. Both drivers on the boost as they go single file into Brooklands. O'Leary desperately trying to find a way past this RSR Astra.
Just trying to get that some sort of that lip that he can just make use of, a little bump there to say, yep, I am still here. The gap between Kell and Richardson is starting to extend again. It went down to about 2.5, but it's now slowly creeping back up again, as I think that these wet weather tyres are starting very slowly to make sense. We're just seeing a little bit more spray happening. So yeah, these drivers now going to be a bit more tiptoey around, as the lap times have definitely gone down. We were sub 1 minute, we're now at 1:03s. So yeah, it's definitely slowly getting worse out there, and that's the worry, is every lap now is going to be an excursion.
Car spinning off in the background there. Benton on the exit of Copse, I think, as you were just saying, Phil, a little bit off the line and put your loaded tyre on a bit of track which is no longer grippy, and round you go. You are truly a passenger, and honestly, that sensation, ladies and gentlemen, it is the worst. You are literally powerless. The car just goes wherever it goes, and you just have to hang on for the ride.
Yep, so we're going to see here Cole Benson's here on their own. So far so good. Goes through turn 1. They're going to put it on the... Oh yeah, just very wide, and then just a little bit tap around as well, but I think the car had already gone at that point. So yeah, unlucky there, falls back in the grid, and gives Allington another spot up to 11th. I think Allington's the one to watch at the moment, as they are slowly making inroads on everyone.
Absolutely agree. And while Martha may only be 11th at the moment, if the weather continues to deteriorate, these slick shod drivers are really going to start to struggle, and it could be very genuinely realistic that
Oh, we
Martha
need to
could
battle
make
second
away.
place. Second, third, fourth, all together. As we see Ben Rillis go for a bit of an excursion over there. But yeah, it looks like Richardson, Herlock, and O'Leary are getting very feisty towards each other just now, and just about holding on. I think this is giving opportunity to Luke Mitchell. I think Richardson's lost a lot of time. Yeah, it's gone 4 seconds now, Kel. Definitely the wet tyres now are the ones to be on. Those guys that tried doing it and it didn't quite work are now going to regret it as Richardson goes wide again. So they're starting to struggle.
Looks like everyone's starting to overshoot and miss the ideal line through Brooklands. They are not hitting those apexes. And we'll have to keep an eye on Allington, on Benton, Benton now in the pits getting onto the wet tyre, but we'll have to keep an eye on those wet tyre drivers because they could genuinely find themselves on the podium if the weather continues to deteriorate. Cars going wildly off the circuit there. White BMW, I think that was in the background. Here's Allington on her wet tyres going through Copse Corner. That looks pretty sensible, pretty normal. But just look at the speed and momentum she can carry, the confidence that White BMW really struggling here in these challenging conditions.
Yeah, Martha's actually lost a couple of positions somewhere in all this battle. I think because they're kind of getting involved in these dry tyre battles, it's kind of holding them all up. As O'Leary is now up to second place, Herlock down to fifth. So this battle is also hotting up, and it's advantage O'Leary. He's made up 9 places. I told you O'Leary's a bit of a race to expert, and showing it right now.
We'll have to see how expert he can be. He's got a significant distance to catch up to Dan Kell. 5 seconds the gap. We've not seen much of him, but he's just been leading around as a champion does, just focusing on what he needs to. Apparently a second quicker last time around. Thank you very much, cameraman extraordinaire. So wet tyres definitely seemingly the right choice at this phase of the race, but there's still well over half the race to go.
So this is the problem now. If you're losing, it's 1.2 last lap. So second lap, 13 seconds. It takes 20 odd seconds to change tyres in this. So unless it rains biblically, it's now not really worth changing. But then you've still got to try and keep it on the black stuff, which I think more and more cars are struggling to do. And it also means obviously slower to pull away exit of corners, which means you get less time to use your boost. So, but there's definitely water on the track, although it is raining not quite as much at the moment. It's slowly going down as we see Elliott there fighting with, I think that was Louis Neal and Cito Wire. So it's all kind of bunching up as Herlock keeps losing places and down to 8th. Herlock's really struggling as O'Leary is definitely pressing home this advantage.
So I think one of these situations where you have so many cars physically trying to occupy the same part of track, you're tripping over each other constantly, costing each other momentum, as you were saying, Phil, not able to get the power down, not use the boost. And I think for some of these drivers with the wet tyre, with the exception of Kell, who has beautiful open road ahead, they almost can't use their advantage. They're having to be so careful to make sure that they don't crash into someone with all the extra grip and potential that their car has.
Yeah, I've not actually remember a race where we're basically coming up to halfway through and it's basically 10 seconds between the top 16. They've all kept very close together. I think because we're seeing now differences in car setup and skill a bit more with that wet weather, as it's now stopped raining. It's kind of really showing off the skill amongst drivers. And yeah, it's just look at that back. You see your car 3-4 wide. It's where do you put your car and place your car in this corner?
So Cito Wire making moves from the back of the grid, cars sliding around. One of the Coopers there going a little bit deep into Brooklands this time around, but he's up to 9th from effectively the back of the grid, so he's making use of his wet tyres very nicely.
And next person to overtake, Herlock, as O'Leary also has the fastest lap. So this is not working out for Herlock. Definitely working O'Leary, gap down to 3 seconds and the fastest lap. So that is definitely game on, as it's, like I said, it stopped raining. And now those wet tyres are going to start getting hotter and hotter.
Yeah, I think Cal just about to catch some lap traffic which have stopped for tyres. So to your earlier point, Phil, stopping for tyres at this point, you won't be able to make the time up, you won't be able to gain the advantage unless absolutely everyone comes into the pits.
Yeah, and obviously, what's the point now if it's not raining? It's going to have to stick it out, as we're seeing a bit of a battle here. 5th place, Callum Cripps. It's Luke Mitchell and Richardson ahead. So Richardson back on still holding on to that podium spot. As they're going to go 2 wide. There's going to be a little bit of tap No, managed to hold it together. As long as Scott Mitchell-Mum doesn't try diving down the inside. Bit of a tap there from Cripps onto the back of Mitchell. Luke Mitchell, that is. Yeah, it looks like they're just about all holding together. But so far, so good. Gap at the front, by the way, down to 2.6. So O'Leary is catching a hammer over fist. Tong. Which one that is?
Why not both? Why not both? Using those soft tyres, perhaps actually in the fullness of time and hindsight, maybe the soft tyre is the right tyre to have been on. Just that extra little bit of grip that the slick compound has, and O'Leary is using it to good effect, just taking some interesting alternate wet lines, carrying the momentum round, and that 5-second gap, as you were saying, coming down rapidly using that boost, and I think Dan Kell is going to have some attention before long.
Yes, and obviously it's now raining again, so it's on and off showers at the moment as we see them catch up, gap down to 1.5. O'Leary's used 6 out of the 12 laps, so 6 left of boost, and Kell's not used any of his 5. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. Likewise with Richardson there, 5 laps of boost to go, just trying to hold on to them as long as possible. As yeah, that next shower comes along and mixes it all up again.
It does indeed. So we're only just over halfway, and it would be fair to say we have to keep an eye on the tyres, the wet tyres in particular, because on a dry track they do disappear, they do burn up very quickly, and I wonder if with this often on nature of this weather, if the wets are actually starting to struggle. Speaking of which, we now have Dan Kell and Tom O'Leary basically side by side, very, very close. O'Leary now ahead.
Herlock's been taken out. Herlock's been taken out. He's been hit by someone there, and he's falling down the order. Sorry to cut across you there as O'Leary takes the lead. It's gone from bad to worse for Herlock, down to 14th. Looks like a car slid in front of him and he had nowhere to go. So it wasn't his fault, but it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
The championship well and truly swinging backwards and forwards. Let's have a look at the replay here, see what we can see. Hard on the brakes. He's just gone a little bit deep and he's lost a little bit of momentum. Oh, I think, gosh, yes. Fraser Hart just a little bit off the line, recovering a little bit, and unfortunately for Herlock, nowhere to go.
Yep, and O'Leary is now going to sail into the distance of a 1.5 second lead over Kell at the moment. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it hasn't quite needed to be more water for these wet tyres. I mean, Cedo's showing how it's done. He's up to 6th now. But yeah, this is definitely bad to worse for Herlock, down in 14th while your rival is leading the way. Carl Benson, who said pitted for wets, is actually on the fastest lap. So is a long way behind everyone, but it is now the right tyre to be on. So we'll see how that means Dan Kell. So here's Fraser Hart. So goes into the corner, goes a little bit sideways, and then taps the car in front and then just gets pushed. And then tries to pull off out the way, and in doing so absolutely takes out the driver. So and that driver is our championship fighter, as he now is out of the points at the moment. It is down the inside. Is it going to hold on to that 1 point? Does for now.
Yeah, it's quite a significant hit actually between the BMW and the Astra there. That might have caused a little bit of damage on that RSR machine. So yes, not only lost a significant number of places in time, but potentially a wounded race car as well. So that is the swings of a championship. It's all about being the best over 30 rounds, and sometimes you just have to have the luck go your way. It did not for Herlock on that occasion.
Didn't at all. Yeah, out the points of Seal, Scott Mitchell-Mum is now going to come sliding on the grass, but just about holds it together. This could benefit Herlock, who gets another place possibly.
Two Kings cars having adventures there. Mitchell-Mum on the inside, and another Kings car going very deep on the outside.
Yeah, not the best evening so far there for Kings, as it has again stopped raining, and that gap between O'Leary and Kell is up to 3 seconds at the moment. So yeah, look at Cedo, 21st to 4th. I mean, the guy's only, in fact, it's his teammate in front of him. So I wonder if he's going to kind of just send a message to Cripps and say, I'm half a second behind, I'm on the right tyre, could you just get out of the way, please? But if it's not raining, as the BMW takes an interesting line, I think Cripps will say, when it rains again and I start to struggle, maybe. But right now, I'm on the right tyre.
So side-by-side action here. Alan Smith, going very sideways. And did he tag the back of the BMW? Maybe, hard to say. But Callum Wilson, they're going for a few extra rotations through Copse. Looks like Alan's slowing down as he holding his hands up to that one, maybe. But fast and furious racing throughout the grid order, and yes, I think he is just waiting for Wilson to go through there.
Yep, very, very sportsmanship, very gentleman behaviour there. Herlock manages to get both those places and back up to a couple of points from 14th, but has Salberg diving down the inside and it's fighting over a couple of points now, which is kind of the problem. If O'Leary's gap is now 4 seconds, so I can't, unless it's going to suddenly throw a load of water down, I can't see O'Leary succeeding this one.
So Cooper on the move, Simon Trebek. Phil called him out earlier, having a good run up to 5th place in the Unlimited Esports Cooper. And oh no, he's gone sideways. Can he hold on to it? Hold on. Hold on.
His curse.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Simon. I'll be quiet. Oh no. More contacts. And,
oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. On the wet stuff. And like I say, you're a passenger. Oh, Simon, I am terribly, terribly sorry. I'm well and truly pissed at that.
We have to clip that one for the old end of year book, and that's them sadly out of the race, and we'll be starting near the back from race 3. I suppose that's then 1 place gained for Herlock, who is back up to 13th, fighting Salberg for 14th. As O'Leary, 5 laps to go, 6 seconds ahead, just pulling away. Callum Cripps, gap between Callum Cripps and Kell is down to 4 seconds. It is going down quite quickly as Kell's wet tyres are not working anymore. And Cedo is actually now falling off the back of his teammate, as O'Leary gets the fastest lap as well. So extra maximum points for O'Leary here is just what the doctor ordered, as Elliott is trying his best to fight Cedo. Yeah, Cedo is now also down to 5th. So I think the wet tyre pushes over, ladies and gentlemen. It's backwards from here in a case of hold on for as long as you can. I reckon Cripps is going to get Kell because he's already lost. Oh, that's going to come back on a little bit sideways, I think, off camera.
Oh,
nope,
no.
Has sadly taken out. That is Jack London.
Yeah, just caught the start of that one, unfortunately, the loadout focus there. I think just ever so slightly on the wet line, and you're a passenger. I cannot say it any more simply than that. You just have no grip. You just go wherever your momentum takes you. And unfortunately, in that case, straight into the side of that calamity. Wrong place, wrong time.
Well, indeed, we get a little replay here. So it goes a little bit on the grass, or just loses control, catches it, spits it the other way, tries everything, full right lock, and just whacks into the side of that poor old unsuspecting. I've seen that actually happen with Will Burns, I think it was, in the Passat years and years ago. That's happened many a times in British touring cars, as the gap between Cripps and Kell is now 2.4 seconds. So that's one to watch near the end, as Wire loses another place. Like I said, those wet tyres are done. It's now a case of hold on for dear life and hope you can get as many positions as possible. As we get another replay here from outside the car, I think. So, slight slide, spits it out of the way, and just tries everything, and just bam. Yeah, very unlucky there to lose a load of places, but it's just the worst feeling because there's nothing you can do. You don't know it's coming, and just whacks your car and takes you out, loses a bunch of spots, out of the points. Still 13th. I'm still ahead of Herlock. It's just the worst feeling.
It is. Well, in terms of good feelings, to try and not jinx any more things, kudos to Ryan Elliott, having had a moment, obviously, in the first race. He's recovered beautifully up to 4th place. He did not gamble on the wet tyres. He went with the mediums, the slick tyre, and he's used those to good effect. And they have caught the back of Kell now. We've now got Cripps and Elliott right with our race 1 winner, and those wet tyres are looking very, very used. Just look at that, the extra grip and traction that Cripps and Elliott have on Kell. This is Kell driving 100%, but his car and his tyres can give no more.
Yeah, exactly. I think the best thing that Kell can do is just let those guys go, focus on these last 2 laps. Wire's not going to get him. Obviously, Louis Neal could, only 2 seconds away. So I think that will be the last one to kind of possibly lose and still get a top 5. It was a risk. We always knew it was going to be a risk starting on the wet. So it was just luck of the draw whether those showers were going to stick around long enough, and sadly they have not for him.
No, but I think also when you're starting at the front, you don't want to take any gambles. So just one of those things. Sometimes the luck goes with you, sometimes it doesn't. But it's still a fine drive from Kell so far. Louis Neal will be the next driver to give him some attention. Looks like Elliott, though, has designs on second place.
Yeah, definitely going to push for it, as they're both using their last laps of boost. So this is going to be a fun run down to the next corner. Is Elliott going to stick a nose out? Thinks about it, thinks better of it, and it'll be a non-boost race to the end there, as Cripps going very sideways, but has the inside line for this final corner. Is Elliott going to try the under? No, too far back.
So, yeah, I wonder if he got on a little bit of water there, a little bit of dampness, just took his Astra slightly away from the line he wanted, and it just cost him a little bit of speed, obviously on the exit there. So Cripps hanging on, he has the fastest lap. These two just a steady 10 seconds behind O'Leary. What a masterclass he has put on. He got to the front and he has not looked back. Louis Neal now well and truly, and just look at that as an example of the speed difference between the slick and the wet tyre. Kel having to be so much more gentle and considered with his car, and Louis Neal almost trying to force the door, force the action, just focus on your exit. Louis, you will get him. You have so much more traction. These two continuing to scrap as they run towards Brooklands, but hats off, Thomas O'Leary. You mentioned it earlier, Phil. He's been a bit of a master at these second races of the evening, and he's done it again.
He has done it again, as also Ryan Elliott has got past Callum Cripps into the last corner. So it does look like a 1-2 for Richardson Co, but sadly Benson is a lap behind. And yeah, Elliott has got Cripps, and I think Dan Kell has just held on against Louis and Neal there. Is there any more boost to use? Nope, that should be Kell holding on to fourth place. Some robust defending, one could say, but yeah, not quite the right tyre choice, but I'm unlucky there. Herlock was like going to bring it back in 12th. Cripps got the fastest lap at the end. That's 1 point less for O'Leary, who gets 21. And with Herlock there finishing in 12th, he gets 4. So 17-point swing there for O'Leary. That's big.
So when the gap was a mere 12, it obviously condensed. It's sprung out again. How the championship and the whole evening can swing on just from one race to another. So one more race to go. A reverse grid. Who knows? We might get some more weather for all we know. So everything still to play for. Let's run through our finishing order for race 2. Thomas O'Leary for Richardson Co Racing wins from Ryan Elliott and RSR. Callum Cripps is our final podium finisher. Pole position and race 1 winner, and Kell brings his wet tyres home in 4th place from a very quick Louis Neal at the end there in his precious automotive racing BMW. Jordan Richardson and Cedo Wire finished in 6th and 7th, with Scott Mitchell-Malm, Zach Evans and Jack London rounding out our top 10.
We then had Emil Selberg in 11th, with Dan Herlock there down in 12th place, which is going to be also quite difficult for final race 3, because he won't be in reverse pole. Oh no, it could be on reverse pole, it's full reverse, we'll have to check that out. Luke Mitchell in 13th, with Martha Arrington, she finished 14th. Last points there going for Callum Wilson. Alan Smith in 16th, Mitch Marie in 17th, Ben Willis 18th, Jordan Osborne down in 19th, and then Carl Benton, who pitted there for wets, finishing down in 20th. And then finally, Simon Trebek and Fraser Hart sadly didn't finish. Fraser Hart had a wheel disconnect, which is why they suddenly turned left into the path of Herlock. So yeah, really, really unlucky there for Herlock, and in many ways that could decide the championship, because it's now a 23-point gap going into the final race of the evening. 23
points, but we still have another 4 races to go, including the one we're about to start. So there's still more than enough points on offer, but yes, that is a healthy advantage and a healthy gain back for O'Leary in race 2. Pretty much perfect for him, given what looked to be quite a challenge, given the results of the first race.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle now, because O'Leary now, we'll see what the reverse grid. Obviously, O'Leary will drop to that position. I mean, a full 12 reverse grid would just be brilliant, Mr. Admin. If they could just sort that one out, we'll have to see what actually happens and keep an eye on things. But yeah, 23-point gap at this point. You're kind of thinking now, well, they need to start having a couple of bad races going into those final few at Brands. So could do with just reducing that a little bit in this final race of the evening, which is going to be difficult. So we'll have to see what the reverse grid number is.
Yes. All you can focus on, of course, all you can control is what you do on the track. So when you do need results to start going in your way, that's definitely where you have to start looking and, well, hoping that you get a little bit of luck on your side. I think one factor we'll have to keep an eye out, though, Phil, is the fact that we've got 11 drivers, pretty much half the field, now on that soft tyre. We saw that it worked very nicely in the wet. We'll have to see how everyone does with that tyre, which, while quick, does need a little bit of care and taking care of across our race distance.
Yeah, definitely need to look after it in that first half of the race where you've got a full fuel load and not push too hard in the fighting, and then you've got something to use in the exit of those corners with your boost in race 3. And yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. I don't know if O'Leary and Herlock have used theirs yet, or who's pushing theirs out. I need to check the old information.
So Leary just used the soft tyre in that race to very good effect. Just having a quick scan, it looks like Dan Herlock will be using it in race 3. So yes, we'll have to see what Herlock can do now with that extra grippy tyre, but he's got quite a few others to contend with using that same advantage as well. So this being a very fast clockwise circuit as well, of course, those front wheel drive cars, I'd say they definitely obviously have a nice advantage in terms of top line, top speed. But with these fast corners, they really burn up those front tyres, particularly that front left around here. So an extra thing for our drivers to manage throughout this final race of the evening.
Yeah, that just kind of those long corners of turn 1, they're all long corners really in this track. There's no short corners. I mean, I suppose you've got a little flick left and right after turn 1, but I don't really count them as corners. It's the heavy braking zone onto Wellington Straight, and the long corners are where it just burns them up. There's obviously got 3 to the right, 1 to the left. So yeah, that's going to be the fun bit. And we're still waiting on that reverse grid pole, but we'll see who gets it. And yeah, Martha Addington, my wets were absolutely dead at the end of that. Sadly, like I said, a couple of showers, but wasn't quite enough to keep it going. It came at the right time, second time around that shower, and then there needed to be another one on like lap 15 just to keep it wet enough, but sadly it wasn't. Then we just saw those wet runners just slowly fall back.
Yeah, and I will say, actually, certainly from the commentary box, lovely time watching that, because it was a real back and forth of the conditions as they switched a couple of times during that race, where the wets had the advantage, the slicks had the advantage. Yeah, certainly from our point of view, I think it was a good one to watch, and I'm sure drivers enjoyed it as well.
That's what I had at Portland in my BMW 1 Series. There you go, froze it back. It rained at the start. I got reverse pole for race 3, and I thought, you know what, sod it, I'm only going to go backwards. I might as well start on the wets. Did a really good start. It was raining. It stopped raining, and I was thinking, oh no. I think it was Lewis McGlade I was racing. I think I was falling back into the class of him, and then it started raining again right near the end, which managed to hold on. We are hearing that reverse grid is P10, which means Jack London on pole. So that means you're going to have Herlock in 12th and O'Leary in 10th, right ahead of them.
Very, very close between the protagonists, but a good opportunity for the likes of London, for Evans, and Mitchell Marm, all to potentially try and steal a march on the final race of the evening. And I say the reverse grid format, it does bring up a little bit of chaos, but our field is so close that it's a nice opportunity for those who might not normally find themselves right at the sharp end. Give them a chance to run some clear air and show what they can do. So we'll have to see what London et al. Can do. Not quite a full reverse grid draw, as you say, Phil, but still quite a few cars being reversed.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just seeing if Cedo starting 4th will be on those soft tyres. Going from having to leave race 1 due to your kid waking up to, starting 4th in race 3 isn't a bad return to form. Obviously got lucky though, those wet tyres that managed to help make the places up. And I'll be keeping an eye on Cedo, I think, for this race 3.
Say a good call. I think he made lots of headroom, and then I think tyres just ran out on him. So we'll have to see what he can do with those slick tyres. Tell me, Phil, is it raining in the warm-up just before our final race?
It's not. So I think this is an easy choice for everyone. It's start on dries, mainly because you have to. You don't have to start on wets when it's not raining. So it hasn't rained for a while now. I think it stopped raining, halfway through that race. So I think I'm going to have a quick look at my old weather app. What does it think Silverstone is doing? I mean, I think Silverstone is currently dry. So make of that what you will. Yeah, I think it's going to be a dry race 3. Commentator's curse. I hope not.
So we didn't think it was going to happen, but there we go. It did. So who knows? It might start raining midway through this race. But I think everyone's desire to have at least one wet race of the year has been quenched at this point. So there we go. We will have to see how our drivers deal with this final race of the evening. As you say, it is much easier when it just looks dry. There's not really much of a choice to be made there. And yes, I think this is where having weather apps and that kind of thing, just to confirm or deny if there's any chance, you can just kind of set yourself up. Am I going to try and take care of the tyres? Am I going to push them hard because I might need to switch? Or do I start on wets if it starts to rain? Drivers will have to figure all that out in due course.
Yeah, very easy. As what I said, start on your mediums or your softs. Yeah, Cedo starting in 4th is going to be a fun one to watch. And obviously, O'Leary starting in 10th with his title rival directly behind him in 12th, but importantly on those soft tyres. So yeah, O'Leary, Herlock can hopefully claw back a few points and set us up for a nice finale at Brands. Which, yeah, sadly I won't be here to I'll be watching it probably from holiday, so I'll be keeping an eye out on that one.
Yes, just having a look also at others who are using the soft tyre in our final race of the evening. We've also got Zach Evans, who I believe will be starting in P2. So our front row, I believe, will be using the option tyre. So that'll be nice and even. And Mitchell Marm used his option tyres, I believe, in the first race. Yes, so front row, all using that option tyre. We should see some good starts from them.
Yeah, I think Mitchell Munn will be the one in danger as the top 4, the other 3 drivers around them, top 4 will be using those softs. Interestingly, it means all 4 are front-wheel drive. Our first rear-wheel drive is Louis Neal in 6th. So it's going to be a front-wheel drive race to turn 1.
Yes, and I think even starting in 6th, if you had the perfect rear-wheel drive start, I don't think you'll be able to find a way through 6 cars in the short run into Cobb's Corner. So yes, front-wheel drives leading the way in the final race of the evening.
Just waiting everyone to grid up to make sure that the boost system is working. Yeah, it looks like it's actually working. So the admin is very happy. It means he gets to go to bed a little bit earlier, as do we. Yeah, so this will be a fun finale to watch and set us up nicely for the championship finale at Brands. Yeah, right. I really want Herlock to just claw back a few points.
So as our drivers start their final formation lap of the evening, we'll run through your starting order. Jack London will start from pole position from Zach Evans. Scott Mitchell-Marm for Kings will start in 3rd, very closely pursued by Cedo Wire in 4th. Jordan Richardson then will start 5th, leading a number of medium tyre runners. Louis Neal, Dan Kell, Callum Cripps, Ryan Elliott and Thomas O'Leary, all medium runners, rounding out our top 10.
It's then Salberg and Herlock, 11th and 12th, running on those soft tyres. Luke Mitchell, 13th, also on softs, 14th and 15th for the softs of Allington and Wilson. 16th, Alan Smith. Mitch Murray in 17th on the mediums. Ben Willison, 18th on mediums. Osborne, 19th on the softs. And then it's Benton, Trebek and Hart rounding out 20th, 21st and 22nd, all on the mediums. So, yeah, some interesting clumps of a bunch of mediums, then a bunch of softs, then a bunch of mediums in that midfield pack. But, yeah, like I said, it's going to be a fun one to watch. Louis Neal, obviously the first rear-wheel drive, but is on the mediums. So this is going to be an interesting getaway for everyone.
So credit to cameraman extraordinaire for the fantastic firework pun that I used at the start. I think we'd have fireworks in this one for sure. Different tyre strategies, different drivetrains, different championship battles all going on. With just 3 races to go after this one, anything can still happen. So drivers making their way to grid. We've got one driver apparently who was just running into
Willis,
the pit
18th.
then.
Yeah, Ben in 18th is trying to do something from the pits. Not quite sure what's going on there. I think what happens, they'll get teleported to the start line. So, are they going to? Yeah, they are still in the pit lane. So I think you're suddenly going to see a car just pop in. We will see.
So everyone patiently waiting. There we go. Car joining towards the back of the grid. Lights start. Engine notes rise. Lights out and away we go for race 27 of this year's TCUK Championship. Jack London gets away well, so does Zach Evans. Scott Mitchell-Marm follows in close pursuit into Copse Corner. Pseudo Wire giving chase to our leading three. Everyone else looks cleanly through Copse Corner for this, the first time of asking. So they go hard on the brakes, down through Maggots, into Beckett's for this, the first time of asking.
Yep, O'Leary holding itself on the inside line nicely. Ninth, Ryan Elliott, teammate to Herlock, right behind now, as everyone seemingly got through that. We have one car DNF sadly, but I think they've had an issue. So yeah, they've had an issue, so they've had to get them out. And Jack London takes a little early lead.
So, much like Dan Kell did in the second race, London trying to run away from the pack. Zach Evans keeping close pursuit, and we've got a duo of RSRs keeping O'Leary very honest. Herlock versus O'Leary side by side out of Luffield into Woodcut. They go to complete lap one. This is your championship duo, and they are giving no quarter.
Yeah, O'Leary's got the inside of turn one. Herlock slightly ahead. He's going to get pushed a little bit wide. Obviously, Elliott, teammate to Herlock, watching this all happen, and is thinking, I'll make a little move as well. We're going to be able to put Herlock in a box somewhere, but Herlock's now got the inside. We're going to do a whole lap side by side, lads, or are we going to sort that all out? No, it gets the outside line and holds it. So that's Herlock ahead of O'Leary, and now I think Elliott will probably be trying their boost to try and get ahead as well.
Say, this is a momentum circuit. You lose some momentum, you are punished for it, but it looks like O'Leary's been able to gather himself up, not lose too many places there. Elliott now ahead of him as well. Important not to go backwards, obviously, in a single race or that of a championship fight. So Elliott ahead, the rear gunner is in place for Herlock. What can O'Leary do next?
Well, yeah, you've also got Luke Mitchell side by side, welling with O'Leary. So this is basically now Elliott's job is basically to back up O'Leary, and just make sure that make it difficult for him, make it hard. But Luke Mitchell doing that for them already. There's Louis Neal also having a look at O'Leary.
Say O'Leary, yeah, I think suffering a little bit. He's being freight trained. Everyone is now sensing blood in the water and passing one after another down to 12th from I believe 9th place just 50 seconds ago. So a bit of a disaster for our race 2 winner. Meanwhile, up the front, Pseudo Wire has made his way forward, and he is now up to 2nd place.
Yep, so as I said, those soft tyres, Pseudo, we know he's a decent driver. We'll be going after Jack London, who's got a couple of second lead at the moment, but Herlock there in 7th has got Jordan Richardson, a bit of a gap, but Callum Cripps right ahead, so definitely looking for a top 6 there, as I'm keeping an eye on also how O'Leary is doing, who's in a bit of a side-by-side battle still with Luke Mitchell, I think. Nope, that Luke Mitchell's gone on ahead, sorry, apologies.
So Sido in that Brabham Honda Civic Type R has been rapid this year, but he's got a very quick Scott Mitchell-Marm in that King's car for very close company. On the brakes they go into Beckett's this time around. As this group scrap, this is going to bring the likes of Herlock, Richardson, Elliott all into contention, and it is again music to London's ears as he just focuses on the road ahead. They continue to scrap Mitchell-Marm and Wire, and we've got Zach Evans. He's not given up. He's still well and truly in the mix as well. And Dan Kell now getting involved. This conga line for 2nd place. Everyone wants to go.
They do indeed. This is exactly what Herlock needed for this final race, is to recover some decent points, but doesn't really want to be involved in too much of a feisty battle in this race 3, which is exactly how race 3 usually goes. Has got the full 12 laps of boost to use as well, which is useful as Luke Mitchell takes the fastest lap of the race.
Through Copse they run on lap 5 of 22. We've got a few trains starting to form, as I mentioned, this group for 2nd place, and we've got a group here all forming on the back of Thomas O'Leary in 12th. I wonder if the lack of boost perhaps is starting to play a factor. It looks like he is keeping with his teammate though of Callum Wilson just ahead, but he's got Salberg for close company. Herlock trying the outside line, is that on Dan Kell? That's brave if he can get that one done, and I think he has. Lovely move. He's just got so much confidence in that Astra at the moment.
Exactly what he needs to do. I'm surprised, by the way, that you've got, like you just said, you had Callum Wilson is ahead of O'Leary. I know Callum's on the softs, but surely you should swap over anyway, because O'Leary's going to get battered from behind of various drivers, kind of act as rear gunner for him. But I suppose Callum's argument is, no, I'm on the soft tyres, I want to make progress. But I can't help but feel if your teammate is fighting for a championship and you're not, you should probably try and help them where you can. And I don't think being ahead of him right now is going to be helping him.
Yeah, I think it's a bit tricky. It's very early days in the race. You know, if you were to hold up too much, you might lose more positions maybe. So we'll have to see if they sort that one out as the race goes on. But Wilson on that soft tyre definitely will have a little bit of a pace advantage over O'Leary at the moment. Looks like Wilson now actually ahead of Ryan Elliott, if my eyes do not deceive me. So Wilson definitely on the move, so he's got some pace in that BMW.
That's very true, and Herlock's got ahead of Evans, so Herlock up to 4th. So Herlock's hunting a podium here because he's only 4 tenths off Scott Mitchell-Marm in 3rd. Cedo not catching up Jack London as fast as I thought he would. Gap still 2.7, but yeah, Herlock knows he's got a decent bunch of points here in this race 3, and he is definitely going for it.
He is using every inch of the track, and then some. Herlock running through cops. You have to be careful. There's some automated checking. You don't want to go over that too often. You will get a penalty. So a little bit of tactical usage there just to keep his momentum up, keep with the car ahead. Here comes Salberg. Is this for 12th place? Yes, it is. He's now got, I think, ahead. He's on the boost of O'Leary. So O'Leary definitely struggling a little bit in the early going. He's now got Ryan Elliott for close company into Brooklands, going round the outside of the RSR, does the Ford Focus. Another lovely move. That outside line working really well in this 3rd race. Oh, contact!
Yeah, so I wonder if this is going to happen. So basically, Elliott here is now hold up. Your job, Elliott's job is hold up O'Leary. Doesn't matter how many places you lose, as long as O'Leary loses them as well. And he's basically, playing the team game, exactly as I thought Wilson needs to do. Wilson's run up the road and said, good luck O'Leary, you're on your own, mate. Elliott, on the other hand, has went, right, I'm just going to hold up O'Leary, don't care. As long as I do it legally and don't do it unsafely, then fair game. He's going to hold him up.
So on the brakes into Beckett's that time around. Just watching Herlock, I think, getting a good exit there, up to 3rd. Getting past Mitchell-Marm. That soft tyre on that Astra is working well, but here comes Mitchell. I think Mitchell's up the inside on the boost. Certainly alongside, even into Brooklands corner. But the RSR has the inside for Luffield, and we've got 3 now for 3rd place.
There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I didn't see who that was, but yeah, this is basically now O'Leary now Herlock trying to get as many points as possible. Elliott trying to stop O'Leary getting as many points as possible. There's Fraser Hart is 15th and now right behind O'Leary. So it's, if race 2 went well for O'Leary and Richards and Co, this one's going very well so far for RSR.
So replay coming up. Just going to see, I think this is what caused our yellow flag. Just following along with Alan Smith and his Craven Racing Hyundai. Little move up the inside there from a BMW. Oh, contact! And just unsettled both cars. Oh gosh, a little bit of damage perhaps on the back of that Hyundai.
Yeah, I think that was Smith trying to return the issue back to that other car there. I think closed the door on him a little bit early. There's Herlock up to 2nd now, already past Cedo Wire, and now hunting down that race win.
So he's not hanging around. He's got half the race still to go. So there is still plenty of time to do it. Up 10 positions already is Dan Herlock, and as you say, Phil, pretty much ideal running for the RSR team at the moment. O'Leary has gone, unfortunately, nowhere but backwards, and he's now got, I think that's Mitch Marie ahead, using a lot of track width on the exit there. O'Leary really going to have to find and dig deep to find some pace to try and make a few passes.
Yeah, and I think in the meantime, Elliott will just sit there in 12th and go, yep, I'll let you two fight, and make sure you don't make any more places up. So, yep, he's got a little run up over the road. He only got 4 more laps of boost to use. I didn't see how much O'Leary has there. I think he's only had 5 to begin with. So I don't think O'Leary's got much more to make use of this race anyway. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch. As you see Dan Kell watching a blockade of Honda Civics ahead of him.
Yes, our race 1 winner. Looking like he's trying to find a path through, but look, goodness me, look at the exit speed, that boost power of that Brabham Civic. Off it goes past Zach Evans there, Callum Cripps moving forward. Dan Kell through cops, carrying lots of speed over the curbs, nicely within the limits, kept his tyres on the curb, that's allowed. running through down into Beckett's, and look at that confidence on the brakes, closing up really tight and close onto the back of Zach Evans, but Evans getting a great exit there.
He did indeed, as we see this gap for the lead is definitely coming down, but I think Herlock is also bringing Mitchell and Funds with them. I think London either is used up a little bit tyres too early the first half of the race, or is just saving them at the moment, just thinking about later. And yeah, this is definitely a race on for Herlock. He's got about the same amount of boost as Jack London ahead as well.
So using that boost as well on the exit of Luffield Corner for this, the 11th time of asking. Herlock, lights on, head down, focused, half a second now behind our race leader. This is definitely going to become a scrap before long. And I get the sneaky suspicion Mitchell et al. Will be there to join in. Zach Evans defending there from Callum Wilson on the boost himself. Good to see Zach doing well this evening. Running down into Beckett's for the 12th time of asking. Callum Wilson having a good look around the back of that Honda Civic.
Yeah, Wilson making those soft tyres work. I said like he needed to support his teammate, but he's actually run up. He was about 11th at the time. He's up to 7th. So I suppose in many ways he's doing the right thing for himself and the team, but not so much for the team's championship as, yeah, Herlock now right on the back, 3/10 the gap between him and Jack London. I think this is, sadly for London, I do feel this is a case of when, not if.
Yes, that Astra absolutely looks on rails. The confidence that Herlock has got, he's just attacking every corner, carrying so much speed. Both drivers on the boost, but yes, it definitely looks like the advantage is with Herlock at this point. As we say, one thing to catch, quite another to pass, and we'll have to see what Herlock can fashion.
Now we've got a car stopped, and that is of, I think that's Callum Cripps is now sadly out of the race. We'll get a replay of that later. And looks like Simon Trebek may have had this issue. Oh, there's cars off everywhere. There's a few cars off. There's another car off to the right there. That's Scott Mitchell-Marm is suddenly off. And yeah, it looks like there's been something's gone on. It's all good news for O'Leary, up to 11th.
Yeah, I think both of those drivers were in fairly close proximity, were they not? So I wonder if they've perhaps had some sort of moment together. We'll have to wait and see. O'Leary really getting feisty with Ryan Elliott going around the outside, is he, of Brooklands. He's trying, he's hanging on, he's still kind of there. And, oh, contact between them as O'Leary fashions his way through that door. I'm sure Elliott will have thoughts on that one. On the exit they go. O'Leary on the boost, Elliott on the boost, and we know that Astra's quick in a straight line. Down they run towards Copse. O'Leary covers the inside. Feisty driving between these two. Looks like O'Leary has his nose ahead on the entry, but lovely comeback from Elliott on the exit. I think he's there, and he's got the inside for Beckett's. Hard onto the brakes they go. Elliott completes the move.
Yep, Elliott holds on. Meanwhile, teammate Herlock has taken the lead as we got a replay here. So Scott Mitchell-Marm is getting pushed along a little bit there from the Honda Civic, but so far so good. And then, oh, it was on the side-by-side of him, and I think he's going to take, is he going to take some out with him? Yeah, ooh, that explains the that Ford Focus of outer wheel ring just becomes a normal Ford Focus. And that explains the car that was stricken in the middle of the road. And unlucky there for Cripps to take out, just to have a Ford Focus going sideways and not really where you can go, but that'll be one for the stewards later, I feel.
So while we were in replay, Dan Herlock has been able to make his way past Jack London and already has a half-second advantage. So the dream scenario continues for Herlock. He's made his way to the front. O'Leary up to 11th. He's made a few places with that drama from the replay we just saw, but definitely the third race playing out in ideal fashion for the RSR team.
Indeed, we're going to get another replay here of the overtake. So good old boost, gets the inside line, and I think that's basically, yeah, signed, sealed, and delivered. There's a little bit of contact there, sends him a little bit sideways, and I'm guessing that Herlock is then able to make it around the outside. If so, fair play. But yeah, it looks like it's then going to be a boost run, I'm going to guess. That yeah, Jack London was expecting. So good use of the boost, good timed exit, and that's them into the lead.
Yeah, it looks like that one will be done into Copse Corner, and once you get side by side, it is very much the car on the inside who has the main say of what happens next. So it looks like Herlock got that one done nicely and fairly. Looks like O'Leary now still trying to find his way past the RSR of Ryan Elliott, and he's now got Fraser Hart for close company, up 10 places, so a good race for Fraser here in the final race of the evening. Martha Allington also for close company. So we've got a little bit of a quad coming up here, a little conga line of cars, all trying to get into the top 10. And the more these guys scrap, the bigger this queue will fall.
I mean, this is, yeah, Elliot knows exactly what he's doing, backing the other car up. He's definitely, he could go faster if he wants to, but he's read his MO is basically just back up that other car. What you need to do is, O'Leary's lost another place, so Hart gets ahead of him. And I'm sure in a minute Hart will just kind of be let through by Elliot, although another car then loses. So it's a big old battle that O'Leary doesn't really want to be part of.
Yeah, it looks like Richardson, having had some really strong pace in the first race, is struggling a little bit here in his Drake Honda Civic, and he's been falling back into the clutches of this group. Here comes Martha Allington up the inside of O'Leary. Nicely done there for Martha. So through she goes up to 12th place. But yes, it does look like that Honda Civic is a little bit of a cork in the bottle. O'Leary now trying the outside line round Martha here, just carrying that momentum. Something he's done all evening is just carry that momentum around the outside, I think catching a few drivers out.
I think there's obviously the benefit of all those, also that rear-wheel drive, and give him a good exit. And wasn't able to make use of it. They lost a little bit of pace there back on Martha, actually, to be honest. So down to 13th, so only a few points, as pointed out that Martha was actually on boost at that point. So it's going to be how much boost everyone has left as Jack London back in the lead. We've missed that one as Herlock down to second. So that boost overtake, and those two are fighting and give Cedo the chance to catch back up.
So London straight back on the boost as well this lap, so we'll expect to see him use a bit more on the exit of Beckett's this time by. But yes, it looks like London is not just going to lay down and have Herlock run away into the distance. They're even on boost. So yes, a fight. Lovely stuff for the race lead. It's what we like to see.
It is indeed. So O'Leary's only got 2 laps of boost left, whereas Neil behind has 5. So that one is definitely not over, as I imagine Neil will be using it now, because there's only actually 5 laps to go. So that could be another overtake complete. And yeah, O'Leary down to 14th.
So the topsy-turvy nature of these races are well and truly playing out. Richardson, who looked to be struggling, is now overtaking and passing Ryan Elliott. So I think a little bit of boost strategy perhaps going on here, perhaps a little bit of tyre conservation. Richardson now making some moves, having been passed just a few laps ago.
He has. Sorry, my voice is starting to go. So much stuff going on up and down the field. So the good thing for O'Leary right now is the gap to 15th is quite a long way away, as now Herlock's going to be under pressure from a wire. So this podium is not finalised yet, is it?
It definitely isn't. Bill, go get yourself a drink. I'll cover. So our leading group, they're all concertinaing up together here. London has made the pass back. Cedo Wire has caught up to the back of Herlock. So I wonder perhaps if a little bit of overuse of the tyres, perhaps, who knows? But Wire keeping a very nice tight line. Herlock using that slightly wider but earlier on power line there. And just look at the back of this Brabham Honda Civic, well and truly with the Astra of the RSR ahead. And you can see already starting to pull ever so slightly on the brakes, 100-meter board, tip it into the right-hander, and just look at that Astra slide. I definitely think it's struggling on that front left tyre.
That probably explains why Jack London was able to, let Herlock go ahead a little bit, just kind of look after those tyres, and then using it on these last few laps to make use of it. As I think Herlock would love to be able to get that win, but also got to think about the championship. We've got Callum Wilson here in 6th and Salberg in 7th, having a good old scrap as well. Bit of a rundown. Like I said, everyone's now got boost to use up, so it's kind of negating everyone's use of it. So Salberg got the inside line, going to make use of it. Yep, up to 6th. Is the BMW going to touch underneath? Yes, beautiful.
Chef's kiss. Beautifully timed. Switch back, and are we going to get a second one? Maybe we will. Will he get that one closed off? Ooh, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of touching, a little bit of trading paint. But goodness me, that was a sweet switch back from Wilson there. Fastest lap of the race as well for the Richards & Co racing driver. So lovely stuff from these two. And all of this scrapping is bringing Dan Kell into the mix.
Yeah, he would love that, obviously on the medium, so a little bit harder, but maybe those mediums are going to benefit at the last 2 laps of the race. We've got Still got Ryan Elliott, still ahead of O'Leary, still kind of like, nope, just hold him there. Let the guys ahead run away so he can't get any extra places. I think kind of pushing him back any further is going to be quite difficult. But yeah, I think the better now will be for Herlock. Hopefully he can fight for the win, or at least hold on to that second place. As we see, oh blimey, it's all kicking off here. I think it's going to be a little bit hard to do. We're going to be on to the final lap very shortly. So one last opportunity at all these corners. Who's actually got the boost and the tyres left to make use of it?
We'll have to see. Fight for every position, and we have our leading trio literally bumper to bumper as they cross the start-finish line to start the final lap of this evening. They are all covered by just half a second as they run into Copse Corner. We've got a little bit of picture-in-picture of Ryan Elliott and O'Leary as well. But let's just take a look here at our leading trio. Down they run towards Beckett on the brakes. Looks like London covering off the inside line. And it looks like Herlock has outbraked himself ever so slightly, pushing understeering wide. Is that the chance that Wire needs? Looks like Wire and Herlock and London all on the boost. Side by side they are. Wire using a bit more on the Wellington straight. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? It's Wire. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. On the brakes, late, brave, and he's covered the inside for Luffield. That's second place. It's going to be a tall order to get London here as they power their way out through the exit of Luffield. Everyone on the boost. Jack London up the gears. 0.2 of a second as they cross the start-finish line. Wow, what a lap there, and what a finish from our top three.
Wow, and importantly, O'Leary looks like he's got ahead of a few cars at the end there, and has managed to bag himself 12th place in the end. But yeah, Ryan Elliott definitely playing the team game there. So I'll have to run the numbers in a minute. But that's Herlock could have done with the second, but he'll probably have taken that considering how race 2 went. So yeah, not bad overall.
Yeah, I think I saw there's a Drake slowing down at the end there, and I think that was Elliott who dropped a few places at the end there as well. So I wonder if perhaps they're running out of fuel maybe from the fast pace of the race. We'll have to see. But as Alan Smith comes home 18th place to round out our runners and riders, boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was a grandstand finished in every sense of the word.
It was indeed, and importantly, so having had a 17-point swing in terms of O'Leary in race 2, that was a 12-point swing back for Herlock, which means, if my numbers are correct, because obviously you got Herlock there finishing third plus a point for leading, 16 points, and then 4 points for O'Leary in 12th. It means, by my calculations, the gap is just 11 points going into the final 3 races, and it's 20 points for a win, 1 for a fastest lap, and 1 for leading, so definitely all to play for.
All to play for, and after 3 races, a 1-point difference on the championship. Don't we love it? Anyway, let's run through our final finishing order here for race 3 of the evening. Jack London came home in first place. Lovely stuff for you, Jack. Well done. Very closely followed by Cedo Wire, and a hotly contested podium finish there for the Brabham driver. Herlock, championship contender, came home in third place, followed by Luke Mitchell, and Callum Wilson powering his way forward in that Richardson Co. BMW, finished in 5th. Zach Evans, Dan Kell and Emil Salberg finished in 6th, 7th and 8th respectively, and Fraser Hart and Louis Neal rounded out our top 10.
That was a brilliant top 10 Martha Allington there. Points 11th O'Leary. Could be very critical points coming the end of the season in 12th. Jordan Richardson in 13th, and rear gunner Ryan Elliott in 14th. They have a couple of points. Mitch Free in 15th. Soundly both Unlimited Motorsport Esports just out the points in 16th and 17th, Osborne and Trebek. And it was Alan Smith in 18th, and then the runners and riders that sadly didn't finish the race. Scott Mitchell-Mum, we saw, got turned sideways in the penultimate corner with, I think that was Cripps, and then Carl Benton and Ben Willis, rounding out top 22.
So in a flash, 3 more races in the record books here at VMO for TCUK. Silverstone always does give us some fantastic racing with its just lovely combination of fast straights and big braking zones and critical traction zones. I think we've seen a bit of everything, even weather, Phil. So your final thoughts to round out the broadcast for tonight.
I'm really annoyed I'm going to miss the final races. That's going to be such a fun one to watch. And yeah, if you're not O'Leary and you're not Herlock, I think it's going to be great. If you're those two guys, it's going to be very stressful. It's going to be a fun one. Qualifying is going to be critical at the Brands Hatch GP circuit. the gap only 11 points. You obviously get a couple of points for qualifying on pole, but it's all about those races and building that momentum. So over the course of that entire evening, Hurlock only gained 1 point back on O'Leary. So needs to gain another 11 points, or 12 points even, given number of race wins. So going to be a great showdown.
It absolutely is. And, well, if you're interested in that showdown, it will be in 2 weeks' time, the 14th of November. And we'll be at Brands Hatch GP, a wonderful venue for our finale of this year's championship. If you've interested and enjoyed what you've seen here tonight, feel free to search for Virtual Motorsport Online, come across our social media pages, our Discord, and we have a lovely community of like-minded drivers and all sorts of competitions, be it touring cars, be it rallying, be it sports cars. There's a little bit of something for everyone. So on behalf of Tom, Phil, and myself, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time for our championship finale at Brands Hatch Grand Prix.